Welcome to the Conscious Cafe. We have Suzan Fleck here with Melissa Windell. And I'm so excited to introduce you to Suzan because I've gotten to hang out with Suzan for so many beautiful years. Our daughters were in kindergarten together, which is when I first met you.
Yes.
On the playground. Yes, it's really cute. Cute little kids running everywhere. But Suzan is a powerhouse, and I'm not kidding. Every time I get to hear part of your story of your life, I'm like in awe all the time. I'm like, you did what? You did what? And all in the same lifetime? Like, I'm so confused. Like, how do you manage to do all this? So, what is it that Suzan does? Suzan
is an acupuncturist and clinical herbalist, primarily. And a mom.
And a mom. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what's so impressive is everywhere she has studied.
Yes.
Which I know Hawaii, China.
Yes.
And then somewhere in the U.S. that's not Hawaii.
San Francisco was where I finished school.
San Francisco. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And a little bit in Tucson. Started my path there.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
See, learned more. And you met your husband in China.
I did.
At a Chinese herbal acupuncture school?
Studying with our teacher.
Studying with your teacher. Yeah. Is that the one who you're studying with again right now?
No, he's passed.
Oh.
But he was how we met. Garth was living in China, and I went there for an intensive in 2000 to study with the doctor I'd been studying with for a couple of years. And his name's Dr. Xie Peiqi. And I studied martial arts and medicine and body work with him while I was in China.
Wow.
Yeah. And Garth was a translator for him, and that's how we met.
Oh, so does Garth speak fluent Chinese?
He does. We're learning all kinds of things today.
Yeah. I told you, it's like every single time I hang out with you, I learn things. So, Suzan, tell me, how did you find yourself on the path of an acupuncturist? Oh, well, first off, some people don't even know what acupuncture is. So acupuncture uses, I bet you I could find these. You tell them what acupuncture is, I'll grab the needles.
Okay. So Chinese medicine and acupuncture are the traditional medicine of China, go figure. And we use these tiny little needles. They're not like needles that people think about today as far as like shots.
You can't even see.
You can't even see them. They're so tiny. They're so about the breadth of your hair. And they're made out of stainless steel. And we access energetic points on the body that help to change the chemistry in your body. So why do we want to change the chemistry in our body? Because that's really how we work. We're electrical creatures, but we're driven by the chemicals that make things work in our body. So you can't digest without a chemical. You can't sleep without a chemical that your body makes. And acupuncture helps your body perform better by creating the appropriate chemicals at the right time. And I always think about acupuncture and Chinese medicine working similar to chiropractic. So I don't know if you all know what chiropractic is, but it's this idea of correcting posture. And acupuncture in Chinese medicine, acupuncture specifically, helps the body to go back into a better functioning posture. So you get into habits like through life, through all the things that you do. So I like to ride bikes. So like I'm down in front and my chest gets kind of collapsed as I'm riding sometimes. So I get into this posture. A lot of people are really forward posture, and you rely on chiropractic to like change that posture so you stand upright so that you're working with gravity and you can walk around life without pain. Acupuncture works the same way. So we can even help postural issues too by working with the soft tissue like the muscles and the ligaments and the tissues by needling in specific areas that help open those up to sit correctly with posture and gravity too. But we also work internally so that the needles actually drive the body to produce really beautiful endorphins that are the love and the good feeling chemicals our bodies make. And that all helps us to digest better and rest better and sleep better. So you treat a lot of different things with acupuncture.
To be like more in the parasympathetic mode.
to be in the rest and digest mode. That's what I'd like to say, so people can identify better with rest and digest. And when we're scooting around our lives, because our lives are so busy these days, we kind of forget to rest and digest. And so acupuncture helps you like take it down a notch. Yeah.
I know, particularly whenever I see that acupuncture, it's so grounding and calming, and I can feel just my nervous system just bring it down like 10 notches. One thing I wanted to bring it back to was that we have electricity in our body.
We do.
Which is kind of a weird thing to wrap the mind around.
It's our central nervous system.
Our central nervous system.
It's like the switchboard of the body.
Which is why you can have static electricity with someone.
Sure.
Yeah. A little bit different, not so much.
I'm shocking my clients all the time.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I don't really shock my clients.
I remember one day going in because I was having sore throat issues, and I went in to get acupuncture, and apparently there's a large intestine meridian right here.
Yes, good. You remember.
I do. And a lot of your immune system lives in your large intestines. So I guess that's why needles happened here. And within 10 minutes of having needles on, my tonsils went from to barely anything. It completely dropped down. And I just think that right there to me just speaks so many volumes, because it just shows how the body's communicating.
Yep. We look at the body as being a united whole, and that anything that affects any part of the body affects the whole body. So we look at the body in a slightly different way than this part of my body hurts, so I'm going to just treat that part of my body. This part of your body is affecting the entire system, and vice versa.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it makes complete sense at the same time.
Yeah, it does.
So what got you into acupuncture?
This is a really long and winding story, actually, so I'm not really sure how I can rein myself in. So if I get a little crazy, you just pull me back a little bit. So
giddy up, horsey.
Giddy up. So I don't know really when it started, but I've always been really interested. Initially, it was interest in herbs and kind of natural medicine, even when I was in high school. And that always was part of my interest, even though it didn't follow me into my formal studies in college. It was something I always did on the side. And I went to school. I went to the University of Arizona in Tucson and studied all kinds of crazy stuff that I totally loved and enjoyed, exploring the world through college. But I wasn't really on a track of figuring out what I wanted to do. But studied herbs on my own and through kind of correspondence courses. And I finally had the okay, Susan, you've got to do something with your life and you've got to get it together. And I'm a super late bloomer. And I decided that what that was going to be, because I always liked caring for people, was that I was going to go into the health world and go to medical school. So I got my first degree, and then I went back to school to do kind of pre-med prep. And that was really short-lived before I became very discouraged. That was a bit of a dehumanizing experience for me to do the pre-med stuff, because what I just kept on seeing was that there wasn't the connection that I thought there would be. And I didn't feel like what I was learning was applicable to this holistic view that I already had. That I felt like we are our own healers, and our bodies have the capacity to live these vibrant, cultivated lives, even at that time. And all we were learning about were really reductionist ideas. Like I was saying, well, your finger hurts, so let's look at the finger. And I was like, well, there's more than a finger here, though, because I'm the finger, not the finger.
Yeah, you're part of the finger, though. It's one with you.
Right.
Yeah.
And it felt really limiting to me. So in my second year of pursuing school, I decided that the way I was going to make it through pre-med and medical school was probably to get somewhere where I could get clinical experience. So I applied for a job, and I got the job as office manager in this integrative clinic in Tucson, one of the first ones. And it was really interesting because I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I didn't know about Chinese medicine. I didn't know much about, I had never had a massage in my life.
Wow.
And I know, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm like, wow, how did I ever live for 27 years without a massage?
Totally.
And it was such a blessing. I was surrounded by all these really wonderful practitioners. One was a naturopath who was also an acupuncturist. 3 other acupuncturists were in that office, massage and shiatsu, and a bunch of other people in clinics that took place within this site. And they became my first teachers. And I had my first acupuncture treatment there.
Wow.
Yeah, and it totally blew me away. Because I was a bit of a skeptic, because you have to remember I was coming kind of from a science background, even though I had kind of these natural medicine and traditional healer kind of background. I was still pretty skeptical about it. And I was in school, totally stressed out, having a hard time breathing, like literally like kind of anxious.
Like panic
attack kind of thing. And my new job wasn't helping that either, because I had all these other responsibilities on top of schooling. And I received my first treatment from Marianne Tully. Hello, Marianne Tully, wherever you are out there. And she treated me for anxiety. And I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning after my treatment because I was breathing so deeply. And I had never had anything like that happen before. And it really helped downplay the stress and the anxiety in my life. It was really helpful. So I was sold.
Well, and like, what a great experience that like the universe brought you into that path when it was like going down the medical like world and realm. It was just creating more anxiety and more pressure and feeling more and more less aligned.
Yes.
And then it's like once you experience that, it was like I feel like it gave you that like eye-opening of like, wow, like I can still help people on a medical level, but in a way that is aligned with your heart.
Yes.
And it allows that connection, that inner human connection.
She's so clear. That's perfectly well put, because I get a little crazy when I'm on camera and don't make any sense. But she's making sense, so listen to her.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then what Marianne and all the other practitioners in the clinic told me was, I was like, okay, I want to do this. So they gave me all kinds of books to read, and I started learning about Chinese herbs within the clinic, and they had an agreement that they kind of took me under their wing. Wow. And I got to more or less kind of study with each of them. Wow. It was really a wonderful opportunity. And their greatest recommendation to me was to, before I went to acupuncture school, for me to study body work. And they said massage or like Asian body work, because that'll help your fingers get really sensitive and be able to help, or it would inform my needling and my treatment. And I found that to be really true. It was the best thing I could have done. Was I started shiatsu school at the Desert Institute, like pretty much after I started working at the Kuan Yin Center was the name of the clinic. And that was a time in my life that really shifted everything for me and got me on the path. My first teacher was I did Zen Shiatsu was my training, and my first teacher, Chris Schaefer, again, I feel like I was provided for in so many really deep ways. She too took me in and spent extra time with me as I went through my training and introduced me to her Zen community. And then that in turn has turned out to be the major influence in all of my life, but particularly my practice.
Wow. You know, it's funny because it reminds me, was it my first acupuncture I received from you or my second? But I had this beautiful, strong visual of like this like divine feminine energy coming in, and I was like, and I can't put the name on it, and I was trying to like sound out like Kuan Yin. And then
I do
like,
remember that.
And you're like, it's Kuan Yin, and at the time I was so naive, like I had no idea who Kuan Yin is, and then instantly once I found out about her, like I fell in love with her, and you know, it's probably your energy that like brought her into that space, you know. And what a great place to name your center after. Yeah. And that like makes me realize why. So Susan and her husband and a woman named Michelle have an integrative health center, which is
where we are right now.
Yeah, where we are right now, and where I actually have space here as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called the Circle of Health. So that's probably where you got that foundation of how to like run and operate. And
Absolutely.
yeah, what a great foundation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tried to emulate that experience for years and years, and here we are.
We made it.
Yeah, we made it.
So what keeps you passionate in this career, in this path in your life?
I think probably the most direct answer that I could give you is that going back to my Zen roots is that Zen is all about being in the moment and sharing that moment every day, every moment, and making the most of it. That's my twist on or interpretation of what Zen is for me, is that it's this awareness and cultivating life. And I just want to see other people cultivate and love their life. And the most potent relationships that I have in my life today have come out of like working with people through Chinese medicine and helping them see life in a little bit different way, or helping them manage life in a different way. I don't even like the word manage, because manage makes it sound like it's a job. But we're all here
dancing.
We're all here dancing. Yeah, we're all here dancing. Sometimes people forget that this is all about a dance, and it should be an enjoyable thing. You shouldn't have to live without things. You shouldn't have to feel like, oh, I've got it. Why do I have to go through this? And the answer is always because you're here and you can, and you can make it a beautiful thing, what you're contending with. So I find that when I help other people see that, then I too can see it better. And that's the main drive in my life, is that I want to be present and feel the love that's all around us, and feel healthy, and promote that healthy life for each person I contact, because that's how we make the world a better place. So it all comes back to us. It's a big circle. It's like what you put out is what you get back. And the more people that are putting out and giving back, the more harmony we have. That's my philosophical answer to your question. I also just like what I do because it has really been a powerful tool for me. So the philosophy itself of Chinese medicine is a really beautiful philosophy based on nature and cycles, and recognizing that we are a part of a greater thing. We're connected to everything, physically, energetically, and like philosophically. So it's been a really wonderful way to play with people and help them see things in a different way, which like it just gets people talking about things and examining.
And I think too, like two things keep coming up for me, and I feel it's something I do with my practice too, and I feel that you hold such great space for it, is you hold a container that allows people to be vulnerable and in a safe place, and allows them to open up pockets of themselves that I'm like feeling all teary, I don't know, that they wouldn't that they don't feel like they have anywhere else. And in that space, it's like it gives them the opportunity to heal and to work with different things. And I will say on the receiving end of getting to receive your medicine and your gift in this world is I feel like when I'm in your presence and I'm on the table and you're working on me, is I feel like there's this extra container of just like a warm blanket of love, and it's like I feel like you're so in tune with my body, and you're checking in, and for me, being an intuitive person, I love because you work on like the anatomical side and the logical side of it, but you're also like feeling in intuitively to how my body and how my emotions and where I'm at on a mental level. And then it's like you find the flow within that to support my needs. And I think that's a big gift that you hold. And I don't know if that's like the Zen part of the teaching, but I also feel like it's so much of just like the container that you hold within yourself, you know.
That is my greatest hope, is that people will experience that.
Well, you're doing it.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for letting me be the person to receive. Yeah.
Well, that's the important work, is the stuff that you don't feel comfortable in your day to day. Like, we move through life so quickly these days, and there's so many things that we can explore, like because of technology, or because of travel, or because it's what's the thing to do these days, and it's easy to distract yourself and do different things other than what is really at the core of what needs to happen, so that you can live a healthy and happy lifestyle. And my hope is always that I can, like, just create a little nest around people and have them feel or be aware of their bodies in new ways, like you're talking about. Like, you're like, oh, I had a client today. She's like, I was not going to cry today, because I make everybody cry, evidently. And she's like, I wasn't even going to talk to you. I was just going to lay here and let you work. And she's like, but I have to, this is exactly what I need to do. And sometimes you just need, like, 4 walls around you, and a soft bed, and somebody who's not, in your family to hear you, to just, like, witness you, and then give you the feedback you need. So I hope that it's always sugar-coated with love, but I also tend to tell people the hard things. It's like, okay, we need to look at this. And I know you know that you need to look at this because you're here.
Yeah.
And so let's make a treatment plan to help you achieve your goals and, like, live the life that you want to live, without taking away all those fun little things, like, chocolate.
I actually had chocolate right before this meeting.
It's perfect. That's why we're so happy.
Yeah. Oh, and Susan, so we're
sorry.
You make me all blush over here. Where would you like to see yourself moving forward with this in, like, 10 years? That's such a loaded question.
I know you told me you were going to ask me that too. I don't know.
I keep kicking her over.
I figure I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life in some kind of fashion. Just because it's a lifestyle.
It is.
I go over to my friend's house and give them acupuncture. Because it's fun. It's like a way to connect with people. So I probably will always do Chinese medicine in some way. I taught for many years, and I do miss teaching, so potentially get back into teaching a little bit more.
You, I bet, are a great teacher.
I do my best.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, so if that's anything.
That says a lot.
And then one other piece that I haven't made manifest yet is that I would love to do intensives with people. I'd love to have a place out in a beautiful environment where people could do classes or take sessions or have an integrative experience like we have in the clinic, but have it outdoors. Because that was kind of my first, nature was my first love. I grew up in the woods, the North Woods, and I padded around on little paths around a lake as a kid, and then I was a park ranger when I was in Arizona. And
little juicy nuggets. So I'm like, how did you have, like, time to do all this in your life?
I'm really old. I'm really, really old. But Chinese medicine keeps me young.
Yeah. And it's working. It's working.
So that's my hope, is just to do more of the same and, like, reclaim more of my health and explore with people and travel and spread it.
Spread the
love.
Yes, exactly. Well, so Susan, where can they find you?
Oh. You can find me at Circle of Health. I'm doing that because I'm almost going to give away something that I haven't actually signed contracts on. Oh, I know, it's so exciting. But you can find me at Circle of Health in Longmont at Nelson Airport. And there will likely, I'll say this much, it's a teaser. There'll likely be a Boulder location very soon. So if you find me in Longmont, I will tell you about Boulder.
But otherwise, you're in Longmont at the moment. with
I am.
wings spreading elsewhere. And it's Circle of Health.
Yes. I love working with people of all sorts.
Mhm.
So I have a pretty general practice at this time, but my long ago history was orthopedics. So I'm getting back into orthopedics a little bit. I love working with athletes and cyclists specifically, and help with how to move your body well, and injury recovery and performance. And I also just love working with people that in the day-to-day want to make their lives better. So
Huge.
yeah,
Huge.
it's good work.
Yeah, it is. We need more and more of you.
And
That's
more
right.
and more of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching us today on the Conscious Cafe.
Thank you.
Please feel free to leave any comments or any questions you have in the comments below. And if you like us and love us, subscribe. If you want to know, I go like this. Especially if you want to hear more about up and coming other conscious movers and shakers in the world.
Wow, movers and shakers.
I love movers and shakers. Thank you so much, and we love you all. Thank you, Miss Susan, for being here.
Melissa.
You're welcome for being here today, and may y'all rock out in this badass world. Can I say that? I can totally
You
say
totally
that.
can say that.
Yeah, rock out in this
Because
badass
it's a
world.
badass world.
See ya. Bye. Thanks, you guys.